welcome back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show right here in your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
And remember, our goal is always to guide you to personal and financial wellness.
Well, the final segment of the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show is with us now. We hate it. We love our Saturdays, every Saturday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., sharing with you so much. It's not just about real estate and finance. That is our mecca. We have, some 50 years experience between the two of us in real estate and finance. We've been doing the show for 6.5 years, but it's really getting connected, and our motto since day one is
guiding you to personal and financial wellness. And a lot of the times, the reason we did that, Don, is because if your personal house isn't in order, it doesn't matter. Your financial house can't be in order. You really do need to have some work-life balance, and sometimes we bring up tough discussions, the things that are difficult to deal with in life, things that are real about life, and the things that we're going to talk about today with Myles as we continue. It's tough, and I've had to deal with some of it.
I have too.
Luckily, it's been with my grandparents, so I think there's an element of disconnect. It's been a little easier to deal with than with my parents, Myles.
I had to deal directly with my parents, so it's challenging.
Yeah. And so the reality is, though, that we have an aging population, right? The demographics are there, that we have an aging population that, like you said earlier, they're very proud. And we have to work very cautiously and carefully on how we make that transition or find that moment in which to say, I need to take control now and you need to take a back seat. And so I didn't say much last segment because I'm thinking about how do we do that? And you were trying to find the right way to say it. It's not manipulation. It's not anything. It's almost like you have to approach your parents at the right time when they are sound of mind and say, you guys need to do a trust. I recommend you guys get a trust for a multitude of reasons, all the great reasons that you choose a trust. And then also in the trust, why don't we put some provisions in there so that I can take over your medical care at some point if you're not able to.
Right.
And if those provisions are written correctly, the conversation might be just a little bit easier, saying, hey guys, remember when we were preparing?
What helped me with my dad with getting him to do the trust? Let you make the decisions while you can. Because if you do a trust, you get the decisions on, DNRs, do not resuscitate, do I get cremated or buried, what happens with my money, all those things need to happen when you are sound of mind. Make those decisions while you can so nobody else has to make them for you, or we have to make them as kids. Well, I didn't want to have to make them as a kid.
And the thing is you hit the nail right on the head, and we always call it the talk. And you want to have that talk with your parents before it's an issue. And you would say to them, we all can guarantee without doubt that none of us is getting out of this alive. Right. And at some point, we're all going to need care. So how does that look like to you? What do you want that to look like? And you mentioned it a DNR, and it's important that that's now been changed to a POLST, which stands for Physician Order for Life-Saving Treatment. So it used to be DNR, but now it's a POLST, and you have to have it signed off by a physician and stuff. But again, and one size doesn't fit all. And I really encourage people to talk to somebody, a professional, a geriatric, or someone, because your relationship and dynamic with your dad is not going to be the same as your relationship and dynamic with your dad or mother or family, or the dynamics are always going to be different. So, but again, having the talk, Dad, you make the decision while you can, all exactly right on point, because it's a roadmap. So, when an advanced healthcare directive, a lot of folks, not just our parents, if we have children that are 18 or older, they are now legal adults, you can't play the dad card anymore. If that kid gets in a car accident and they go in the hospital and you walk in and start talking to the doctor, they're going to say, Don, where's your advanced healthcare directive for your son? Oh, I'm his dad. Well, he's an adult. I can't talk to you. It's a thing called HIPAA. So again, I mean, both sides of that coin.
Most people don't understand that.
They
I just explained that to Jen, my girlfriend, about her son and her, and I'm like, you realize we all need those things.
Right. And the thing is when you tell them that you make the decision, what does this look like? And now me as your agent, there's no gray area. I don't have to make any decisions. I'm not going to be guilt-ridden because something happens. I'm going to pull out that trust. I'm going to pull out that advanced healthcare directive. I'm going to pull out that POLST. And I'm going to say, well, Mom said if A happens, she wants this to happen.
Right.
That's what we do, Doc.
Right. It makes it so much easier. It takes the stress away,
there's
the
no
pressure
fighting
away.
between the siblings.
There's
no, and I really encourage my seniors, just don't always, I got to give it to the adult, my oldest kid. No, You don't.
Right.
You know, first of all, who's going to follow your directions? Number one, and it doesn't even have to be a family member. You can choose somebody, because again, you're following a roadmap. You're not making any subjective changes. You're not making any subjective decisions. You've all written it down. And again, it's that old cliche: people don't plan to fail; they just
Fail to
plan.
plan.
So you know, when you have that talk, and you have to talk about some pretty unpleasant hypotheticals. You know,
Now, it doesn't have to happen with us. I mean, you know, I could tell you that, you know, we work with Lisa Odom, and we worked with her for years, and she helped us with our trust, and she help my parents with their trust. I have no idea what's in my parents' trust. I
Right.
could find anything in there.
That's exactly
because
right.
she's super good about it. Like, even little things, I was like, hey, did my parents end up finishing? Did you send the notary over? She's like, you're going to have to ask your dad that.
Right.
And that's great. You know, I like that, even though my dad doesn't care, but she's respecting the professional relationship they have with them. So you can keep that level of separation and say, hey, you don't have to talk about all the hard stuff with me, but you have to talk about the hard stuff with
He's
someone.
talking about our
Right.
trust attorney, Lisa Odom with Poole and Shafferty. If you're looking for somebody really good, she handles all our stuff.
But you make a good point in that whoever's designated as the trustee of the trust doesn't even necessarily, because let's say it is one of the kids. You don't have to know what's in the trust because you're a trustee, and that trust doesn't come into play until the passing of the parent.
Right.
So then you bring that out. Now again, it's an instruction manual. But now as the trustee, you're governed by the court, and there's your certain responsibilities as the trustee. The trustee is paid, by the way, so it's usually 1% of the value of the estate. So it's a paid position that you are governed by the courts to do what's in this document. So there's no, as I said, gray area. You're just following mom and dad's wishes. And it goes all the way from their health care to their assets to their heirs to their distribution of their estate. All that stuff is written in their trust. So there's no argument to be had. It's all right there.
So who helps with the post?
Well, the
With
senior, again, if
but
you're...
with the estate attorney, I mean, the estate, you just mentioned something
Well,
that's
the
interesting.
post-
That's post-passing.
Well, no,
So
post
what-
is
post-
pre-passing, just
is
like the old
pre-passing.
DNR was. So you would get the physician's order for life-saving treatment, and they're pink, so they're usually pink, so they're readily identifiable, and then you make copies of it, and you put it on the back of the door, you put it to the refrigerator, you put it where... Because if the paramedics come in, and you say, Dad's got a DNR, or Dad's got a... Where is it?
You're right.
Yeah.
And unless you've got it readily available, the EMTs and the paramedics have to start life-saving procedures. You have nothing to say about it. So again, people usually, they'll do a pulse or they'll do a DNR and they stick it in a file, and they stick it in a cabinet on the third floor.
Nobody could find it.
Nobody could find it.
We
See,
had ours,
always great
we had ours
advice.
handy.
It needs to
Always
be
great
to
advice.
tape it to the back of the door, put it on the refrigerator, put it in the glove box of your car. Put it, especially for the agent for your advanced healthcare directive for your parents. Make multiple copies and spread it throughout your life, just like I do these readers. I buy 40 pair and I put them everywhere that I might exist. Same with if you have the awesome responsibility of being the agent for your parents or the trustee for your parents or anybody for that matter, have those documents readily available because things happen when you're least expecting.
Well, if you're least expecting, we got to close out, unfortunately. Myles, we never have enough time, so we're going to have you come back for a holiday special because you got some great tips regarding taking advantage of the holiday time when you're seeing your parents or your grandparents and so forth. So we'll have you back, but how can they get a hold of you again?
Again, seniorcaresantaclarita.com or comfortkeepers.com, or just give me a call here locally, 661-287-4200.
Always great information. We always learn something from you. We love your passion, love your friendship. Thank you, buddy.
My pleasure.
All right,
Thanks
check
for-
out Myles every first Tuesday of every month on AM 1220 KHCS at 11 a.m. for Aging with Power. All right, thanks for joining the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show. Find out more at donandgino.com. We'll see you next week.